How much exactly you have to talk about?
So congratulations, Jimmy. Congratulations.
I don't believe you.
Congratulations for the anniversary.
The anniversary of
Yes.
the anniversary of what?
You know, I want to thank everyone for getting us this far.
Your heart pancake.
And for Jimmy, here's your commemorative heart pancake.
And that's an incense.
It is a pancake in the shape of a heart. For those of you listening,
go.
It also it was a very sensitive gift because it's it might be more insensitive because there's a stick of incense out.
Is this like when you say shaped like a heart? This looks like it's shaped like a human heart.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Ouch.
Which I guess is one way to go. Should I try some?
It's like a doughy human heart. You just
What's in this? What did you put in it? What did you fucking do to this pancake?
Now we're cops.
he wants to know. He wants to know.
What'd you want to talk about?
That's pretty good. What kind of incense is this?
What kind of incest is in it?
How's it
What kind of
taste?
incense is this? The incense is going to taste fucking horrible, so I'm not going to... The pancake's fine.
Oh,
Is that what you're eating?
prove it.
What?
You said there was something about... Did you make that with like a lot of protein? You said something about protein. Is
Yeah, it's protein pancakes.
that what these are?
Yeah, it's pancakes that are made with more protein.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine pancakes
They
kind of have zero protein.
They grind
anyway.
the cows right into the pancake.
Meat pancakes.
They make pancakes like they can make pancake batter like they make fucking like they make hot dogs.
Yeah.
Is grind all that shit up in there.
There's an intestinal lining to your pancake.
You bite into like a tooth, like a half of a cloven.
Still
hoof,
eating
like,
sausage and pancakes? Why not both as one?
It comes in it comes in like an icing like
Yeah.
bag. Like it's just a pink slurry in an icing bag.
No, because it would be that. It would be that, but then you would be able to inject the icing into it. So then it would have a syringe. So then it's even creepier.
That's very
It's just like
creepy.
sausage, like material filled with this pancake
Yeah.
stuff, and then you squirt in your chocolate, your
Right.
strawberry.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's like the opposite. Instead of chocolate covered something, it's like you inject meat into the chocolate. Well, I guess that would still be chocolate covered.
Anyways, you want to talk about stuff?
Yeah, what did you care to speak
well,
on?
immediately you started it. You're just like, oh yeah, prove that you got a lot to talk about. Now it's immediately like leaving.
But
my mind.
no, the heart is for our for the anniversary.
Anniversary.
Yeah,
The anniversary of what?
the podcast. Every podcast has an anniversary.
No way is it the fucking anniversary.
No, but I figured, but we should have an anniversary by now. Or I mean, most podcasts
Something.
have one. We don't. I don't know when the anniversary was, but we should
I
probably
don't think they're
have it.
dude. Maybe they're. Holy shit! Maybe they're. Maybe it is.
I knew you'd do that.
Did I start it in? Well, fuck you. I think I started it in September.
Yeah.
But the episodes, the now official episodes, don't actually start until July. But I think
true.
a lot of the episodes that I didn't put up, I think I started doing that in September.
So
So I
we've
think
got-
we missed it.
We've got a whole lot of stuff planned for the anniversary episode. Matt's going to be making a lot more pancakes. We're barely going to hear him talk throughout this one.
Yeah,
I
was about
talk
to
a
ask,
lot.
when
I'm
you-
glad.
When you said some shit and then walked off, I was like, "All right, here we go again." I guess we got to
Yeah,
keep
go to
it
the
going.
bathroom
Like,
again.
yeah. No, yeah. I guess
What's your topic? What's the first anniversary
I
topic?
feel really bad. I don't like you guys putting me on the spot like that. That sucks. Well, Trackmarks is done.
Yeah.
The setting I've been I guess I could actually talk about it fully. The setting I've been working on for 13 years, like literally.
You want to talk about beep?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never censored
I'm
it out.
so glad that we can finally talk about beep.
People seem to be under this impression that I don't talk about it intentionally on the podcast when that's never been true, like ever.
Yeah, no, I think you just talk about other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I've been working on it since I've been running it since I was like, or iterations of it since I was like a freshman in high school, since I was like at the lunch tables and stuff. And
Wow, I didn't know it was that early.
oh yeah, it was
yeah.
really early. That's why, like, when I say 13 years, like I mean it, like almost like 13 years.
Wow, that's great for Japan.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I don't know what that means.
You could get that, the established mark. Like established 13 years
I
ago.
can. Well, and that's the thing is like the play tester. You're both in the play testers block. I mean,
Oh,
the
yeah,
play
I forgot.
The play tester block is like fucking. It's like fucking this
What?
because it's all the people who have ever played something even that in the life cycle of the whole product.
Yeah, man. I forgot the 5 to 9 games I've played of Trackmarks.
Yeah, or whatever
I
else.
think
it
I
was.
only played like 2.
Still counts.
Or I've tried
I
to
know
push
you played
them.
at least one
I've
or
tried to
two.
push them from my memory because of how marking they were.
Yeah, that's a nice pun. They're all really different. Some of it is like its own thing now, but like it sucks because I mean it's cool. I'm glad that I have the product, but it's like a mini zine. It's one page. It's literally one front and back page, and
that's
most
crazy.
of the back page is art. So I've taken all of this stuff that I've had over years. It started like as a basic fantasy setting. Like it had continents and cities and all this stuff. And then I reduced that all down to a city. And then I reduced the content of that city and everything down to like a page. And I'm going to be releasing supplements and stuff. But it feels kind of weird to be waiting this long to finally have it and to finally be like, all right, it is done. I am not modifying any more art, but like,
and it's a page long.
Yeah, it's literally a page.
So ultimately, it's like we spent 13 years doing the SpongeBob emo where he's writing an essay, and then you're like, and it's one letter.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's just a one page.
But
it's fucking beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I thought you meant like one
you
page
agree.
as a
really
character
good.
sheet because I was hearing you guys play a little bit.
No,
you meant,
that
you
was
meant the
too.
game.
The game itself is in one page.
Correct.
Wow. It's double-sided, I think.
It is. So it's the one. So it's a. You fold it into like 8 sections, and you fold it in a certain way that it's like a little book.
Yeah.
The whole one side of the page is all lore, and then you open it up, and there's like a little column of house rules, and then there's going to be the art, and then the rules that I'm using to run it are Into the Odd, which is a system that is a 1-page system. Mm-hmm. So, and the character sheet is like half a page and stuff. So technically, you can have the entirety of track marks on like 2 sheets of paper with the rules that I'm using to run it, the game itself, the lore, and the character sheets. Like it's really, really light, really, really simple.
Instead of character sheets, you could fit on a character board or something.
You really could.
So compact.
You can keep it in your head if you wanted to. Really,
yeah. You can have index cards.
Yeah, easy sticky notes even.
I haven't tried the new one. So
yeah, I'll run it. I'm gonna be running it a lot more because I'm gonna be coming out with more of the little book things with a ton of content for it and. But it's official. It's weird to say that. It's weird to say that like I am not changing anything else about it anymore. It's done. As of today, it's done.
Yeah.
So version 2 is next week.
Fuck you. I'm trying so desperately not to do that because I do that so much. To actually do this for the first time in my fucking life, to have something something RPG related that I'm like, it is done and now immutable is a really weird feeling to me.
Yeah, that would be really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you can release your own under like a UA thing.
Like my own hacks
under the
stuff.
All Black or something.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be called the supplements are going to be called Trackmarks Dealer Plated, and then it's going to be each one is going to have like here's a place and a dude and a magic item and a part of the city and here's some cool stuff, and then just as I come up with stuff, just release these pamphlets, and then eventually you'll have like a ton of shit. But you don't need that. You can make it all up yourself if you wanted. So it's not like part of the official, game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you guys are, and most everyone who would be listening to this, namely, which is, all the people I've played with. It's like, I'm very well aware of. I have a reputation. I have a reputation for being like, scrap this game, game over. We're changing everything.
Oh no, really?
Game,
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Weird. First time I've heard of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
It's just
I'm too close to Jimmy's.
I would not attribute you to be a revisionist.
Would you? Oh no, not at all.
You're a technical writer. You write it correctly the first time.
You know what? Thank you. I appreciate that, and that's what I'm going to tell everyone else.
Well, technically.
Technically, I technically write.
You technically write.
You were literally like the 4th person to make that joke to me today.
I technically
That's
don't.
weird. That's
I
been going
technically
around a
don't
lot.
write, but I'm writing.
Are you writing?
No, I technically don't.
I thought you were. Are you writing right now, or you had to?
I mean, that's what they say, isn't it?
Did you have to? Did you have to pause your shit because of like school and stuff?
Oh yeah,
I did. Your class and stuff. Yeah. I'm not. You keep trying to wrangle me back into these fucking puns, and I'm not taking the bait.
I'm not even trying to do puns.
I know you just do it.
Quite
you
honestly.
just do it.
Yeah,
this is natural to you.
That's all I'm gonna have in store for what's to come.
Yeah. Well, cool. But yeah, that's out. That's out. I actually have a thing that's not going to change. I promise. I double pinky swear. I cross my heart and hope to die. And I guess I could just finally get on with my fucking life instead of thinking about that all the time.
It's done. You did it. You won life.
You did it. You finished it.
I did finish it. It's official. That is like the quietest.
It was the quietest cheer. Wow. You did it. Not many turned out for the anniversary special.
But something I am doing, this is kind of going to get to the stuff I wanted to talk about, which is I'm putting together like a fuckload of random tables. I told you about that today.
Yeah.
I think it's like just because when I make content, you know, I like to randomize it all, look at what the answers are, and then make stuff out of that. And so I'm going to have a big old collection of like tables and shit. I was reading the Pathfinder First Edition Game Mastery Guide, and it hit me like a brick, like the fucking nostalgia for our Pathfinder days.
Oh yeah,
you remember that shit?
That's dangerous stuff.
It's so dangerous.
Start reading, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember how that little subsystem worked.
Right.
And then what do you know? After you spend an hour and a half, you're thinking of a character combination. You're like, I don't even have a game to play with. No one's playing this.
Yeah,
You
no
mean,
one's playing
you
for
mean
no one's playing First
rolling
Edition.
characters, or what specifically?
I mean, actually, yeah.
The whole like the heritage thing that they did.
Oh yeah,
Like you're a dwarf and
the
you
real
what family and how many kids and all that or
the
whatever.
pre-character
Did
creation
they-
subsystems. Yeah, where you had like flaws and stuff that you could take.
Oh yeah. They
all
did
those
do
tiny
like
20
shit
rolls
like
and
that.
here's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, there's like
It's
25 decisions before your character was even finished.
It's like, so I've been playing a lot of Pathfinder 2, you know, and getting a lot of the stuff for it, and I love all of that. But even like, it feels so much different. There's something special about how Pathfinder 1 and 3rd edition feels. I don't know if it's just the nostalgia, but a lot of it is that. A lot of it is like all these little choices and things that they tacked on and added on. And I mean, building characters, I think we have built more characters. If you look at the amount of time we spent building characters and looking at character rosters versus actually playing Pathfinder, I think it's like 60% of our time, if not more, was spent just making characters.
Yeah.
Which was so much fun. It was so open and so customizable.
Yeah.
And
Get an idea and then be like, all right, I got to set aside a whole afternoon and probably the next morning.
oh, absolutely. Do you remember? Have we talked about it on the podcast before where I made that pixie dude? Have we talked about that? Where it's like he was a spell sword. He had like an armor class of like he was super early on. He had an armor class of like pushing 30 because he was really small and he had an armor.
Oh yeah,
he'd hit someone with a whip and it'd be 1d3 minus 1 plus 2d10 shocking plus 2d10 fire plus 2d10 like all this crazy shit in like one go.
Yeah, so like high touch AC also because you're small.
Yeah. 100%. Like
that's the only reason people played Pixies is because it was super freaking hard to kill.
So fucking hard to hit them. Like. And then we were in that, then we did that one game, the one Pathfinder game where we were the only ones who knew what we were doing, and we came in and we completely trashed the fucking game.
Yeah.
Because I guess, like, we were used to the power level that we were building at, like the big brain fucking Pathfinder builds. Because you could just take something and you can just run with it to infinity. Because there's like it almost felt like there were literally no boundaries. Even though there were a ton of rules and a ton of like build stuff, it didn't feel like there were boundaries at all.
Oh
like,
yeah.
And if you wanted your character to become something or like learn a spell or something, there's ways that you could do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
That was a lot of people's biggest complaints with 4th edition is the fact that it lost a whole lot of mechanical support for roleplay oriented gaming.
Yeah.
Like
really
sailing a ship used to be its own freaking skill. Suddenly when you had 4th edition, it was just like you're just making ability checks, and the skill list is of like a quarter of the size.
Yeah,
it pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah,
you know,
but it was hilarious. I remember someone on a forum yelling in caps about how are they going to drive a ship through the ports of Waterdeep if there's no skill for sailing a ship?
They had skills.
What do you want me to do? A constitution check?
Yeah. Well, in 5th edition, it's like yes, but like fucking. But that's funny because you know you could take two ways to go that. Like you can go like. No, just make a constitution check, easy, whatever. Or you can go back to 3rd edition and say, use rope as a skill. Yeah, jump as a skill. Like all this shit's a skill.
Rope was a skill.
I remember spending like 4 hours on a
skill.
character that was all he was built to do was like have bonuses on using rope and swinging across places with a sword.
That's so fucking
That's how
tight.
it was.
And it was
like
such a huge feat chain and stuff just so I could swing reliably on a rope while I attacked with a sword.
I do miss that shit, man. Because so Pathfinder 2, it brings a lot of that back, but the way I've talked about before that it's like better 4th edition. So the problem is it has way more options than 4th edition does, but it's still 4th edition. It does feel like you're choosing from a big menu of things, whereas there was something about 3rd edition that didn't feel that way. It felt like every time you made a character, you were the first one to combine these things in this way or to do these things in this way.
That's certainly true.
Yes,
You
it
know,
kinda does, yeah.
I kind of miss that shit.
Yeah.
I really do. I would like to. It'd be kind of cool to like do something like that again. I just don't want to have to fucking, you know. The problem with a game like that is it's so hard to GM for. You know,
Even like balancing.
yeah. I mean, well, not even just balancing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like fuck balance. Like there shouldn't the game should just be what it is. The game should be natural. The game should be holistic. But it's like if you're even going to like challenge some of these characters, like you would have to build monsters. There's one thing to be like, oh, I'm going to give these dudes level appropriate challenges. It's another thing to literally be like, you know, oh, I need to build a monster that'll specifically counter this guy because if I don't, then it's fucked.
Or that's why there were like a dozen monster manuals.
That is true.
They just have to keep coming up with stuff.
There was 6.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the monster manual.
Oh, I dug that.
That was
too.
my favorite of Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
It just kept going.
Then they're already at 3. The game's been out for 2
V2?
years.
Yeah,
For
that makes
2,
sense.
yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, they're not making any more bestiaries, but they're doing what they did with Pathfinder 1, which has made all those other books that had monsters in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know. I don't know if it's just the nostalgia goggles talking, but I have really fond memories of it. Really was the player's game. You know what I mean? It really was a game for players.
That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be whoever the hell you wanted to be, except the problem was so could everyone else.
Yeah.
But that's what created a lot of fun play, because it was like, why do we have like 5 characters all together with like 9 prestige classes across them who are trying to kill something for money? Nothing ever made sense. It was just like, all right, get on with it. We're here.
Too specific, I guess you're saying. Yeah.
It really felt like high fantasy thing for that reason, because there was it didn't make any sense. You couldn't bridge that gap very easily between character concepts of what you were going to do, because everyone was so disparate and so over the top. And it's like, we're going to go, you know, save the town guard.
And the argument is you easily could, because there's so much material, you can just cut that down and trim it to a proper game. But because of how the usual way that Pathfinder and 3.5 is played, cutting away all that stuff feels like chopping off limbs.
It does.
Out on the player side.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just losing entire like sides and options and
it does.
freedom.
And like, something to be said about rules light games is that you can kind of like reach for the stars. Like, you don't need any of those limbs in the first place because you can make your own. But at the same time, like, not being able to express that mechanically, not being able to say like, the system is recognizing all of these really unique things about my characters in a meaningful way. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say, oh, I'm just going to role play and work with the GM to say, oh, like, I'm a half dragon. And it's like, okay, you're a half dragon. That means you could probably fly around, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, you could do that. That's one way to handle it. But to go like, it matters on every die I roll and on every spell I cast, on every technique I used, that I was born and raised like among dwarves.
Yeah.
Like, that reflects in my stats
because
forever.
that's a +1 damage roll to all those things.
Right. Some shit like
Because
that.
it was in an obscure book or magazine.
The obscure ones, yep.
Fuck, am I missing 3rd edition? Is that what's happening right now?
I think something's
Dude, 3rd edition was religious because you're like,
First
how
off-
can you do that? Well, Dragon Magazine 375 paragraph 2. Excuse me, I can do 3d6 damage immediately at level 1. Excuse me. Actually, you can't do that. Dragon Magazine 351.72 paragraph 5 receded that, and you can no longer do. Oh, really? Well, Dragon Magazine, it's like religious. It became a religious thing.
I like that you start with like, it sounds like a bunch of like legalese, which it is.
Yeah.
But then to compare it to a religion is still like very on point.
That's
because
sort of what made it fun, though, in a way, I think.
Yeah.
Because like there was you had creatures that were immune to fear, and then you had abilities that bypassed immunity to fear.
Goddamn
so then we had to have rules that
Yeah.
you'd have to have immunity to fears twice, so it only bypasses one.
Yeah, it's it's academic in that sense and in what you're describing, but it's also religious in the sense that it's like the fervor, the passion with which you brought these things to the table.
Dude, Pathfinder, you could kill Cthulhu, the avatar of Cthulhu.
I remember giving away.
He was CR30, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's hard, but Pathfinder's like, if it's statted, you will kill it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Jabberwocky, I think, was like 35 or something.
It was fucking crazy.
It was fucking hard, but yeah, like I remember loving it because I would be like, there's all the inevitables, which 5th doesn't really have any inevitables. I always complain about that because inevitables are awesome. They're like, you mess with like really big world shit because obviously you would be that powerful, and then 5th's like, and then like, yeah, Pathfinder was like, all of the inevitables will show up.
Well, especially
and they're all statted.
It was kitchen sink. They were like, there's like fucking. I was looking at there was someone who posted a map, like they were of Galarian, and they were just like drawing over what things were, and it's like, oh yes, you have the fucking brutal demon empire, and they live right next to the fucking ninjas and shit, and you're like, this is like a fucking bad mobile game. Like the lore in this is like a bad mobile game, but it lets them like they were like. For every bestiary, they're like, what do we do now? Fuck, what else is in public domain? Grab that and let's
folklore.
Just stat
it was a lot of folklore.
Yeah, it was a lot of folklore.
It was like legitly like you could make your own game because of the choice.
It's kind of what was cool because they dug in folklore a whole lot more than D&D ever did.
Yeah, my Asian Adventures was
D&D
based
relied
on that.
on a ton of staples.
A lot of the Pathfinder folklore demon monsters. I was like, oh, this is an obscure random yokai, and then it was like, it's all statted because of course Pathfinder made it stat.
Of course it's got stats.
It was like in the 4th book. It wasn't even that far in.
So then we killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killed the ghost.
And then Matt was like, I don't want to run this game anymore. I don't want my yokai dying. That's the point.
It was wrestling a hydra. Wrestling a hydra.
No, that was like two sessions in.
Wrestling a hydra.
We had like several more sessions after that. The game did not end because of wrestling a hydra.
Talking about gods is
you
level
wanted
2.
to make it Gestalt.
I think that's whatever
Gestalt was so fucking scary.
Gestalt Pathfinder.
I don't know. Maybe I asked you to make it Gestalt.
You did.
It's like I think the other thing too is like, so you look at like Pathfinder 2 and it'll be like, okay, here are all the rules for like, here's how grappling works, here's how tripping works, here's all this stuff, and it's really easy to reference. It wasn't easy to reference in 3rd edition. It was just 3-column text for pages and pages and pages with like the only thing delineating things was like, oh, this is in bold. And I think that kind of actually made the experience more open because the only time you would ever worry about grappling is if your thing had grappling.
Yeah.
You would never be otherwise, why are you grappling? Yeah. If you don't have big numbers on it, why are you doing it?
But the thing is that would be so difficult for new players when you come in and you're like, you can do anything. It's D&D. And they're like, okay, I'm going to grab the person. And you're like, what? Why would you do that?
Look at this fucking moron.
You have a sword, dumbass. You need to stab it.
Yeah.
You are not built to grab things. Your hands are useless.
That's the thing about like a lot of heavy systems, right? Is you gotta come up with the concept, but then you gotta pull it into the game.
Yeah.
You got to know the game.
Yeah, you do.
Which is why you usually...
That's how they built it.
That is how they built it, but that's why you usually start in the game. That's why you usually start and go like, oh, that's fucking sick. Let's do that. And then you just build from there.
I mean, it was, like the whole thing of like, you kind of need to know what your players are doing to build around it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, you're like, haha, these big baddies. And they're like 0 in grappling checks. And you have a fucking... All your players are like luchadors, and you're like, maybe that was a bad thing. You like grapple these Grim Reapers down and kill them immediately, and you're like, okay, maybe I should have planned for that.
Yeah. All I know is everything we're talking about. There are people who like own every 3rd edition book who just play 3rd edition, and they're going to be playing 3rd edition for the rest of their lives.
I've talked to someone that only played 2nd.
Damn. Hell.
He was like,
there's hardcore holdouts that were like, once TSR dropped, they were done. They didn't need anything else.
D&D's over. No TSR, no D&D.
Yeah.
I was like, what about the other things? He's like, And he wasn't like hating on him. He was like, we just played 2nd. I'm like, what?
He has this game.
It's game.
Like, why would I play another RPG? I already play an RPG.
Dude, he's he was definitely around when like
I'd love
first
to play
came out.
2nd.
That's fucking tight.
Throw 5 darts in a round.
Oh, fuck.
I'd love to play 2nd.
Dude, I want Thaco back. Thaco was king. Thaco was great. Everyone who dunks on Thaco is just bad at math. I fucking love Thaco so much. Bring that shit back.
Yeah.
But like, what's this? Okay, here's the thing though. Are we gonna become holdouts eventually?
I mean, they're already talking about it. Edition 6.
I know they're talking about 5.5, which I think is extremely important. I think that's really exciting. I'm definitely going to be taking a look at that. But let's say, because I mean, you guys own like between all of you, I think you own like every release, right, for 5e.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 5e.
So when you have the full like, so when you've got the full,
not Matt Mercer stuff.
When you've got the full collection, so let's say you have every 5th edition release, every 5.5 release, and then 5th edition's over. Are you just going to move on to 6th?
Probably.
Is that the idea?
We're not.
If it's good.
60.
Yeah.
I mean, if it looks good. I don't care if it's actually good. It'll take years to find out.
Right.
But if it looks good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
5th felt
shiny.
like really good in the beginning.
5th was amazing because just like you were talking about 3.5, where the rules and everything was just scattered everywhere. In 5th, you open up a page and everything was on that page.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit! If I need to find the rule, I can just find it here. I don't have to find the page and then get lost in the text looking for it.
Yeah.
They took a different approach. Well, they took an old school approach with 5th edition in a way, which is that like instead of it being like, oh, here's an option, here's a rule, here's a thing for every single thing, it's, hey, just make a Constitution check, like we said earlier. Like you can just make it up. But like I'm the more I'd always bounce between, do I like rules, do I not like rules, do I like being able to make shit up, do I not? And I just kind of decided they both suck for different reasons. Because if you have like all of these options and all of this robust shit that you can make whatever character you want, that's cool. But then the GM has like his work cut out for him to like plan shit. But then if you're just able to make stuff up on the fly and be like, okay, that sounds good, adjudicate with a die roll, like how track marks is, which is like, that's pretty much all it is. Then you find yourself backed into a corner because you made a ruling that wasn't the best, or you're disagreeing on how something works or whatever, and then that's still more work for the GM. Yeah. So it's like either way, it's like really fucking hard.
I mean, isn't it just like a cycle? It's like that's what happened when before 5th. It was like right before 5th was like nice because we were playing hard like character options for a long time, and then 5th came out and it was just way simpler.
It was.
I think it's a good cycle because I think even at the time we cycled between, we were trying Burning Wheel where it felt nicer except for combat, and then we cycled to like Pathfinder, and then we cycled to 5th, and then I think early 5th we cycled to Pathfinder a little bit, and then we like stayed on 5th for a while. But it was nice. Like it's nice to be like, I mean, I never a big character creation person, but it's like, all the options in the world, you feel awesome, like you said, like your character's so specific, to I don't have to think about it as much. I'll make a character and I'll just roll. Like, it's nice to have that cycle.
Right. That's interesting when you put it that way, as a cycle. Like, it starts out
fresh
and new and clean and wild-eyed, and then it gets, down in the nitty-gritty and really interesting, and then you just kind of get bored of it.
I mean, we were gestalting a lot. So it was like godlike characters.
We're back to gestalting.
Up.
That's the thing.
That's true.
It's just a
we're
cycle
back to
of
our
going,
cycle.
Hey, let's have a little bit less. Hey, this is nice.
That's true.
This is kind of difficult. Hey, what if we had a little bit more?
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is a lot.
Gestalting
Woo!
level
this
20
is a lot.
to playing level 2s. Everyone starting at level 1 because let's just take a break, okay? Let's just chill out.
It's
exactly.
There is just.
Hey, we are back on our cycle. You're right.
It's just a moving target. Like there is it is like a cycle. It isn't
For
like
us,
but I think that's true of pretty much everyone. Like if I contextualize my RPG experience, I think I don't like one of the reasons why I've always been like I own so many systems and I play so many different systems and I restart things and stuff like that because I'm always looking for that like satisfaction. Like if it's like, oh, I want that perfect game. I want to be on that target, But it's like you're looking for the one thing. You're looking for the 3rd edition. You're looking for the 3rd edition holdout. The thing that you were going to play forever. This game's perfect. This game's new. But that can't fucking happen. That's never going to fucking happen.
No.
You know.
New options is fun.
It is. It is fun.
Like a new video game, yeah.
Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
the most important thing in the world is novelty.
Yeah.
I like that.
You pull up your Pathfinder V2.
It's terrifying.
And you have you pull off your Pathfinder V2 and you get your character options and you find a $500 knife and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$500 knife. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you, the novelty of CS:GO skins wears off too.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Weird.
And that's some expensive novelty, let me tell you. But like, I that's interesting when you think about it, because that is kind of what's driving all of this, isn't it? Because it's like, 3rd edition was novel because you can make whatever character you want. Then 5th edition was novel because it was new and fresh and innovative. And then it was novel because it had all these options. And now, like for me, games like Burning Wheel are novel because they think about role-playing a different way. And now this is novel because...
Burning Wheel totally was when it came out.
Yeah. And I would argue it still is.
It changed how we played immediately.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I remember, immediately we're like, wow, why have we never thought about this?
Came back to Pathfinder and all the characters were like, we've got a story to tell.
Legit,
and then we're like, I kill a thing.
You touch that book.
It's still Pathfinder.
You touch that book, and it changes how you play role-playing games for the rest of your life.
It's like a university degree where you should go through Burning Wheel because it really makes you a better player.
Like a bachelor's in
role-playing.
It's
just like reading like Kant or something, because you read Burning Wheel, you have no idea what you've read.
Right.
You got to read.
There's a lot of words right there.
You got to sit. You got to come back to it.
It's only, I made those pre-mades, which are also going to be going up on the store and all that. But I had made all those Burning Wheel pre-mades, and in making those pre-mades and running those games, running 24 games in 2 months, is when I realized I finally get it. After starting learning the system in 2013, I finally fucking understand this game enough that I can be like, okay, I can competently run it. And I still sometimes don't feel like I'm like, fuck, there's still some things that are like, I know how to do, but are just hard to like broach.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, there's all this novel stuff. Everything, I guess whether you like it or not, everything you do when it comes to games is to some extent driven by novelty.
Novelty tied with nostalgia.
Novelstalgia.
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 Welcome to Novelstalgia.
Novelstalgia. If you do not play new system, we put you in gulag.
You play new system. Only old game on new system. No new game.
Well, I think
sequel time.
Our group has never gone to heavy crunch though, like Shadowrun.
No.
I've never done GURPS.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think we've ever been to like hards though, like that hard to crunch.
Here's the thing though, right? Is like Pathfinder is really fucking crunchy. Pathfinder is more crunchy than Burning Wheel is.
Well, of course.
Burning Wheel feels way crunchier, but Pathfinder is like crunchier. But I mean, like, what is crunch then? Like, why is GURPS crunchy?
I don't know enough. I just know the whole joke about
because I've seen the character sheet. That's all I need to know. There's too many blanks. There's way too many things to do on that sheet.
That is a good point. Yeah, because I was going to say it's not a very complicated sheet, but that's actually the problem. Is because it's like empty lines that you write a lot of stuff inside. Yeah. Shadowrun is the problem with Shadowrun. What sucks about Shadowrun is it's not crunchy. The system just sucks. It's like
I don't know enough.
It's just every edition of Shadowrun has something fucking wrong with it. Has something that prevents it from being like it'll have about the same amount of crunch as like Pathfinder or something, but then they present the rules or design the rules in a way that you're just like, I don't even Jesus. Like the whole fucking when combat rounds are like, I'm going to totally get this wrong, but I remember the comparison was something like this. It was like 1 second combat rounds almost, to the point where when you fire burst on a rifle, you have to roll your attack, then they have to roll their defense, and then you roll your damage, fistfuls of D6s. They roll their soak.
That's
you're
what I'm
modifying
saying.
These pools, you're checking for glitches. Oh, okay, cool. Figure out how much damage. Nice. That's shot one.
That's what I've
Two
heard.
more shots in the.
That's what I've heard from Shadowrun. That's why it's a computer game. It's better as a computer game.
It is so good as a fucking computer game. Way better as a computer game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, it's like that in and of itself isn't necessarily crunchy. It's just really poorly designed. It's like we didn't have to do it this way. Like, who thought this was okay? Who at Chaosium was like, green light, let's go?
Well,
like,
that's what, when you build the mechanics and it all looks evens out on the sheet, but you don't think about the ramifications of what that fucking takes to actually run at the table.
Yeah. I think a lot of game designers fall into that trap, is they think a lot about the game.
Well, and the thing is, they probably understand how to run their game the most efficiently. And that's not something you can transcribe in a rule book that well, is the actual knack of, like, how you're supposed to pace and manage a game.
Role-playing
hard.
game books are so bad at teaching people how to role-play. Have we talked about that?
Yeah.
Role play or play the game?
Just play the game in general. Like, it's such an oral tradition. Like, you have to go and learn role-playing games from someone. You can't just literally, even 5th edition, you can't pick up the book and then be like, I've been in games where people are like, oh, I've read the book and now I can run. And I'm like, oh, wow,
it's hard.
no. But like, but how the fuck are you supposed to learn? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Constantly
I know we
doing
talked
it.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think we talked about that too much. Let's talk about with someone else. But
knowledge share, man. I mean,
I don't know if we talked about
came together and
specifically
learned all that
picking it up and hard. I think we just, I don't know if we talked about that specifically. Yeah, it's just hard to like, like here's a game, here's how to play it, and you're like, teach me. Don't just throw the book at me.
I mean, I've
Right,
got several books that I love the system. I love what it presents. I don't love reading the rule book, and that's
God,
why I'm not running the game.
I have such a hard time with that. Yeah.
I
can
World
read
of
the
Darkness
driest
is,
things
World
and
of
not
Darkness
rule
is
books.
awesome,
They are.
but even the Chronicles of Darkness, just something about how they build the books, it makes it so inconvenient to find information a lot of times.
Yes, I actually think I want to ask you a question, Matt. But first, I do want to say that like I think the new World of Darkness books back in like the early 2000s had it the best because it was hard to find the rules in all of the lore. But it was so fun to read the books. Like you were just like, damn, like this is compelling, this is engaging. I don't feel like I'm reading a rule book because most of the time you're not reading a rule book. It's like, oh, and by the way, here's this rule here, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, and then you just keep going and like really engaging with the world. It pisses me off. I get it, but it because I have the same problems, but it pisses me off when players come to the table not having read anything, or having prepared anything, because it's like shit. I'm sitting here busting my ass doing all this prep and stuff, and then you show up and you don't even know what the fuck's going on. You haven't even read the first chapter. You haven't even read like nothing. So, but I know that I have absolutely been in games where I have not read the rule book, and I am like, I don't want to read the fucking rule book. So it's like I don't judge anyone. I don't call anybody out on it because I would be a hypocrite if I did.
Yeah,
but
no one specifically.
Well, but that's what I was going to ask you, because I don't mind reading rule books, but like, what would a rule book have to do? Are there any rule books that you're like, okay, yeah, I can actually read this?
I think it's just like the idea of reading a rule book is hard.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's like easy to read a fiction story and be like, that's really cool. But then reading a rule book is like, I don't know. I literally like lose it. I don't know why. I like, it's like weirdly psychological. I could read the most like non-boring fiction thing, but I feel like I'm getting more out of it than a rule book where I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever run this.
Well, that's probably because
reading it.
nonfiction still has a narrative.
That is
It's
true.
true, but it still has a narrative.
Yeah.
Rule books don't have narrative.
Yeah.
They try to have narrative. They try to have narrative in the way that
yeah.
they order the chapters and
But
maybe
it's like,
examples or.
How do you even, yeah.
Is it maybe part of it that like when you're reading a narrative, it all kind of builds up. You don't need to like. I mean, you do need to remember stuff, but it's not like in a rule book where it's like you're reading it and then you realize like, oh shit, I totally forgot how that thing worked.
Yeah,
I
you
have
have
to
to
go back.
compartmentalize everything.
It might be because
Compartmentalize.
I mean, it kind of is like
Compartmentalize.
that, where I'm like, you read a rule and you're like, okay, I gotta think about the situations where this has come up so I can remember it, and then you move on to the next one and move on to the next one, and then it's just like
Yeah.
because you're not using it immediately, and obviously if you're in game, you can't be like all the time.
What if you treated it as a meditation? You like meditate with the rule book, put on some music, you go from each
I did.
Rule one,
I was doing that.
grappling, and you read it, and you sit for a while and think on it,
You know,
and then you turn the page.
I actually think the exact opposite is the best way to do it. Because I think I'm realizing. Yeah,
Probably.
Sorry. Well, I think that would take hours. That would take fucking days for some of these rule books.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do have the same problems reading a rule book. The approach I take, even the adventure paths, which are fun to read, adventure paths I have a hard time reading. But what I do is I just tell myself, like, at times I won't even be reading it. I'll still be moving. I'm like looking at the words, but not like reading it. And my whole thing is that if you get your eyes to touch everything, you don't have to understand it. You don't have to fully read it. You don't have to get it. But if you put your eyes on everything, then later when you're playing the game, you'll go, I remember seeing something about that. I think there is a thing about that. We should look that up. Or you'd be able to say, oh yeah, this character is related to this person because I read something later in this adventure path. Like you do it like subconsciously. So that way it doesn't take too much time. And that way you at least do what you need to do. But that way you're also not sitting there reading a rule book word by word. Because I don't
know.
do
It's
that,
just weirdly psychological. Even I have an adventure I've wanted to run, but I sit down and I want to study it, and I'm like, it's just painful. It's like really painful. It's so weird for me because
Fifth edition was. I mean,
the more you describe it, the more I agree with you.
All the D&D rule books are easy to read because it's boom introduction. All right, skip all that shit. I don't need to know ability scores. I've known that like forever, all my years.
Yeah.
All right. Character creation. All right, what's here? What races? All right, what classes? Okay, how do those work? Okay, interesting. All right, equipment. Get my equipment. Boom. All right. After that is what is that for equipment?
Spells.
Usually. You can just ignore spells. You don't have to read any spells unless you play a spellcaster. That's your fault. Then you skip DM. What do you have to read as the DM? Literally nothing. Monster manual. Go to the monster section. Just read that. Pick some stuff that's cool.
Yeah.
Then throw some monsters down. Oh no, they're killing your monsters. Well, you need to throw some other stuff out there besides monsters. Boom, hazards and traps. Looking hazards and traps. Useful things. Most of the bloat of these books is the spells, which is just there's no way to properly make D&D spells concise.
That's true. They have
concise. They've gotten much more
make
concise.
it work.
Yeah.
They didn't make it work better.
I mean, monsters have too. We've talked about that. They made monsters simpler.
Right.
So spells work a lot simpler, but because of simplifying all the spells, it made several spells a lot really confusing. Because there's not a whole lot of like.
Yeah, we constantly argue about spells.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Every single time.
Spells have always in the entire lifespan of D&D have been a problem. Starting with OD&D, because you just break rules.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you manage a system that just breaks rules? It's like, here are how the rules of the world work. Oh, except when a wizard casts this, then everything's fucked. Here's some guidance. Here's what we could give you on these use cases. They come up with other uses.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
What about these very niche things we're about to do?
Yeah.
And then we're like,
I don't know.
Do it, I guess.
Maybe we'll publish a UA about it. Maybe we won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way you were just describing it. I find that very compelling because it's like,
yeah, 50.
The thing is you can, the reason why you could do that with D&D and why either of us could probably do that same thing with D&D the way he just described it is because we are familiar with not just D&D, with a lot of role-playing games.
Yeah.
And very experienced. The thing I find the hardest is new players who they sit down at the table. I can't have expected them to read the book because they didn't even know they needed to read the book.
Yeah.
I can't expect them to know how to
and
make a
like you're saying, traverse it.
Yeah.
Specifically traverse it. Mm-hmm. So like a new role playing game, making a character when it's not D&D, you could be skipping steps and not even know it.
Oh,
but in D&D,
you
know the steps and you're like, okay, this, but like other like even more crunchy games, you're like, am I doing the steps right? Did I fuck my ability up?
And what if you're someone who's never played it before? What if you're someone who's never played D&D before? They're gonna miss fucking everything. And that's not their fault because they haven't had. So what I kind of do on the other side, one of the reasons why I like that track marks is one page and that the rules are one page is I've done this already. I've had people sit down and I'm like, here is one sheet of paper that has everything you need to know about the setting, but you only need to read the first paragraph. Maybe the next 3 if you really want to, but you really need to read that first one. Now, here are the rules. It's one page. The only thing you need to look at are those first couple paragraphs to talk about making your character.
Yeah, I saw games start to do that. They're like, don't read. Like I think even Book of the Five Rings was like, don't read the other stuff. Just learn how to play the basic stuff. We want you to enjoy it first before you get crunch.
That's a very good.
I think it's happening way more. Like you're saying, it's a technical writer thing where they're like, like more and more, they're like, okay, we want people to play it like on cons or something, and then get other people to play it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, here's all the rules, and you're like, I don't care about the rules.
And I think that's a good point because you could technically sit down and, like Burning Wheel, I've already done it. You can sit down and run Burning Wheel the first 72 pages. You'd be losing out on a lot of stuff, but you get the basic stuff. 5th edition, if you're a competent DM, you can sit down with some pre-made characters, even just some ability scores, and you can kind of pantomime out what D&D basically feels like.
Yeah.
And then as people get more experienced, you start adding shit on and getting more specific. I do like the ability to scale the game. I think that's something that you're right. That's what it is. That's what we're probably seeing more and more is the ability. It's not just all or nothing. It's not just all rules light. It's not just all rules heavy. It's you can dial the game in where you need it to be based on who you're playing with.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you play long enough. Like, well, like Casey, you or Ben are doing, which is like you start getting weird classes that are way too complicated to play. But because like fifth, obviously, it's like a back of your head. Then you have all these like, but because I did this, now my ultra instinct kicks in.
Well, that's why
add dynamics.
That's why that cycle. We always want to return to Gestalt because by the end, we've already seen everyone at the table play every single class.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only logical thing is, well, what if everyone plays 2 classes at once? We haven't seen that.
You start mashing them together in the fucking Hadron Collider.
We played several Gestalt games at the end of fifth or end of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Several. And yeah, it was getting real like, okay, 400 damage. The dragon's like, haha, whatever. I didn't do anything. All right, get someone that can do real damage, punk. And it's like,
how many games are you guys in right now? Because I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys. I think it might have been at the party. But a couple weeks ago, I realized that I'm doing one game.
Might be in 3.5.
I'm playing in yours, and I'm running Extinction Curse. That's it. I don't know how that happened because I went from like 4. Good for me that I finally escaped.
I said weird for you.
It was weird for me. Yeah.
So
weird.
What I've heard throughout this podcast so far is 1, you publish something with no intent to go back to edit it. 2, you're nostalgic for 3.5 and Pathfinder. And 3, now this.
I'm in no games.
Oh, one game, yeah.
You're in no games.
Well, what are you saying? What's the through line? What's the thread you're getting at? That I should run 3rd edition?
I think that you're a changeling.
A changeling?
Do you think I'm not me?
Definitely. There's no doubt.
Dude, look at his schedule.
Jimmy probably woke up, couldn't sleep at night or something. He's like, I don't know what to do.
I couldn't sleep last night.
Grabs his changeling book, just like, I'll just read through this again. Read into the wrong part of it. Boom.
So you're saying that I'm like I got fetched?
Yeah,
I got keepered.
We got to see a schedule if we don't see colors in this whole coloring.
You know what? No, I can show you right now.
He brings up his schedule. It's like completely empty.
That
would prove everything.
It's definitely so.
Okay, yeah,
this is kind of colorful.
Well, actually, it's not like it used to be though, because this is what it looks like.
Yeah,
now.
that used to be like Tetris bricks.
Dude, that's a lot of shit breaks.
This is a lot of. Well, but like. This is what next month looks like. It's pretty empty. Then this is like completely fucking empty. A lot of that is like recurring stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, yeah, I've got room.
I mean, it's just a down.
You're
You're just in a downslope. I mean, busy, not busy, busy.
Yeah,
but not a inherently bad downslope.
Right? Yeah, you're just like man, Jimmy, all downhill. Like
you mean like a low,
yeah.
Not a downslope. Downslope means you're building momentum and you're gonna hit the floor hard.
Dude, your life's going downhill.
I'm about to burn the fuck out.
Yeah, your life's on a downhill right now.
Yeah,
That's not what I meant. Yeah.
Matt's looking at my calendar, looking at me like, man, Jimmy's a dead man walking. Like, I'm like, fuck, what?
Yeah. The turntables. Yeah.
Am I how the turntables? I guess
low. I mean,
I'm looking,
and it's getting close to December, so we all usually have a pretty hard low, anyways.
That is true.
Yes, the holiday season is crippling,
especially
to the
that we're all getting older.
Community.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I mean, 65, 32, and me a minor.
Yeah.
Oh no, we gotta delete the episode. I didn't know you were.
I mean, I don't know. We've got a kind of a groove, but this is normal to be really slow.
Slower
games. This is a normal time.
Most people I've met that love D&D have played in one game 4 years ago.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
We are.
It's never that they're still in a game. It's that they go, I used to play in a game and I miss it so much.
We're insanely lucky.
Yeah.
That we play as much as we do.
We've talked about that a lot. Yeah.
We have talked about that a lot. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, because I've been doing some other shit, and I look up and just notice I'm in only one game. If I wanted to fix that, I could fucking fix that. You know what I mean? Like, that's no problem.
Yeah, we could ramp up the games and no problem. Just be like, 3 players. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
we got
I don't
3.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bam, 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 bam. The question is if I want to.
Yeah.
Because there's something in me. Here's something I've been running into a lot is.
We'll turn around.
Duck.
Don't give me space.
There's fucking Jesus.
I'm sorry.
There's so many. Oh my god! I just need to power.
There's something you're running into.
Some I'm running into. I'm on this downslope, man. I'm running into something.
It's speeding up.
Something I keep running into. I keep going through things, man.
The end is coming. And you're speeding up there.
The end is fucking near, my guy.
That's like the Domino's
You're
meme.
in a nosedive to apocalypse.
The Domino's meme, which is like I don't have as many D&D games, and my life is going to spiral.
I need D&D, man. But like, there's all these things that I want to do, and I'm not as busy as I used to be a couple years ago.
Still not.
No, I'm not. But
Okay.
like, and there's all these like, oh man, there's so many things I want to do with my time, and I'll find myself. The point is, I can't tell anymore whether role-playing games are a distraction or they're like actually something that I'm like really invested.
I can't either, dude. I feel like I've spent so many years just rolling up characters and never touching my own actual character sheet.
Oh, I know. I think it's better
And
than
now I'm gonna be running a con game this weekend.
I'm very
So
excited
what the
for.
fuck does that mean, dude? I didn't even try.
That means you're fucked. That means that's your whole life now. That means you're stuck forever. Look, I watched a video last night on like video game addiction because I thought it was really interesting. And you replace video game with role playing game, and some of the things made me go, ooh, I don't.
Dude, replace it with crack. You'll be surprised.
I think the definition will match up pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. You'll be real surprised.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wow.
The symptoms just get shorter and easier to notice.
Yeah. Symptom 1, I'm doing crack.
Yeah, there's the symptom.
I guess my point is obviously role-playing games I think are a very healthy thing to be engaged in. Yeah. But I also think like I don't know. I don't know at what point do I want to get in more games, or am I just going to end up not doing other things that I should be doing because I'm in games? Like, do I feel obligated to do them? Like, there's a really weird relationship I have with them right now, and I'm trying to figure out like what's the healthy amount, you know? When in my head I'm like all of them all the time.
I mean, I guess if you don't like regret going to a game, you know, you're excited to go to a game. But if you feel like it's like a root, if it's like a root, if you feel like it's a routine kind of game, then I guess it'd be that. Yeah. It'd be like I don't know if you ever felt that before.
I have definitely.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, how many games?
Yeah.
I think everyone's felt that. Like I think that's a good point though. When you're going to a game just because you feel like you have to and not because you're having fun.
Yeah,
that's usually the point.
Which is it's kind of hard because like obviously there's days you're just not gonna want to play it, but you're just gonna go anyway, and you probably feel better afterwards.
You do, and the other problem is it's
Unless
such a social thing. If you tell people I'm done with a game, then it's like a social commitment you're kind of backing out of. You know what I mean? And I mean like
it is.
I feel
it's like,
great.
whoa, man, what's wrong?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Star Trek, I still feel great.
Yeah.
I
do too.
Good, it's on record.
So easy to run.
So when Jimmy's all mad one day, we'll have this little recording and be like, you know what? I don't know if the Star Trek feel great, and he's like, all right.
Yeah, I thought so. During time of this recording, but I'm sure in this future I'll be like, this is shit. This game sucks. No, I've only been watching more and more Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I messaged you Lower Decks.
A lot of you guys have been picking up a lot more references.
Oh yeah,
I've noticed.
It's fun,
Ryan has been doing a bunch.
Ryan has
Voyager.
Yeah.
Dude. Star Trek's great.
It's great.
I love Star Trek in general. I don't know if I would run. I like 2D20. I think I might find it hard to run. I don't know.
But in Burning Wheel.
On Burning Wheel. Hey, I got those Dune 2D20 books. Hey, Maybe if I'm looking for games, maybe
I
it's time
think
to
the
bust
thing
that
with
out.
2D20 that you'd have to come to terms with, it's the willingness to allow yourself to punch hard. A lot of times, you like the being able to rely on a rule that's just set there.
Yeah.
Because one, there's no bias in whatever decision that you're making. That's one of the best things of having a rule as a DM, something to reference. It's a player wanted to do this. You can't. Not because I'm saying it, but because the rules are here.
Right.
I'm
Sorry,
still
but-
on your
sorry,
page.
guy. Yeah,
It completely keeps everything running at the same time.
It's antagonistic, yeah. Star Trek is.
Whereas a game like 2D20, it begs you to be antagonistic.
I'm using
It begs
that
you
is
to
a
go.
good point.
threat.
You've got a
good point.
system that's built to tell you you need to decide when to swing and swing hard.
Yeah.
And just trust that it'll be okay.
And I think because it gamifies that adversariality.
Yeah.
There we go. Like I fucking forgot all words tonight. Adversarian. I'm just mashing shit together, and you guys get what I fucking
English,
mean.
yeah.
An adversarian sounds like a class.
It does. Adversarian. It's literally like
Like charlatan.
the class feature. Actually, that's the main class feature.
I'm a crafter of anger and adversity.
Oh, fuck.
I was
I'm
talking
drinking
about
the spicy water, man.
I'm
It's
talking
fucking
about
me
the
up.
whole downhill thing. You can hear it.
It begins here.
You know,
at
they
that.
say starts in the gut bacteria.
It's true.
That goes down first.
What
'cause
starts in the gut
the
bacteria?
downhill.
You know, I think if I shit my pants, I will definitely be a little more downhill than I was before. I ain't gonna do that.
Now you'll
but,
be
like,
more uphill. You'll be lighter.
Man, I don't even know what we're measuring with the hill anymore.
were you
I don't
saying?
even know what's being measured with the hill.
We'll get to that hill when we get there.
I like that it gamifies the adversariality so that way you don't feel as bad. It's
Yes.
not like in 3rd edition where it's like, oh, rocks fall and everyone dies, that sucks. It's like in Star Trek, it's like, I spend 1 billion threat, rocks fall, everyone dies. Like, well, yeah, he did have a lot of threat.
What it actually makes me feel is like I'm a bit of a player for a moment again at the table.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
injects, it's just like, I just had this idea that's completely based off of the context of the game. The thing is, from the DM standpoint, I already know the context of the encounter.
Right.
What I didn't know is the context of how the player is going to engage it. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes the exact same sort of feeling as a player of, oh, there's this strangeness, this movement that's happening. How do I interact with it?
Right.
And then you can have that threat pool or whatever each of the D20 systems uses to just inject your personality, your flavor, your style to the game, clever ideas, threats. Gosh.
That is pretty
It's
cool.
been such an easy system to run.
That's really cool.
I've been
hearing
able
you
to
say that.
kill you directly.
You did.
With
Yeah.
feeling no guilt. Because I know there's enough sciencey bullshit out there for me to bring it back.
And I guess that would be true with Dune too. There's a plenty of sciencey the Teleoxu tanks. There's plenty of sciencey bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
What's also
You
nice.
should kill off the whole party and clone them and start them again 500 years later.
End the
Just
scene.
Keep going.
Yeah, end the scene.
Yeah, that you could because it has the end scene rules. You could be in the middle of a fight where they're like the party's rushing out, ready to like stop the bad guys, and you just have enough threat. You start hitting them enough points so they have wounds, and then you go end scene.
Dead. Bye, guys. Yep. Fuck.
Skip
That's
ahead.
true.
Yeah,
There's cool
the
things
how
you can
to
do
not
with that
have
system.
a DM.
You cannot do
there
that
are.
in D&D.
No.
You can't. There's no mechanism for just going, I'm going to capture the whole party.
Right.
You gotta pass that perception, bud. You gotta get
gotta
through
pass
that
perception
HP.
guy. Yeah, you got that HP.
Non-lethal. That's twice as much for some editions.
Yeah. That's. I'm interested again because I've been having a lot of fun playing Duty 20.
Yeah.
I did write that generic version of the system to learn to get to understand the basic underpinnings of the system, and I do like that.
Yeah.
You're saying you have a good time running it, and the thing is about Star Trek is you know a lot about Star Trek, which means you are able to.
I know enough. I don't.
Right.
I've watched everything. I don't remember practically shit.
Sure, but I feel like what's nice about because Isaac has Fallout 2D20, so between he knows a lot about Fallout. I know a decent. He knows a lot about Fallout. I know a decent amount about Dune. You know a decent amount about Star Trek.
Yeah.
Even if we're just saying we're both just decent at it, I think the fact that you have all of that basic underpinning lore really helps.
Oh, yeah.
too.
Well, we've talked about that before too. In a way, that's jumping into other D&D game, other role playing games is sort of difficult because there's not really a table consensus of a visual medium ground between everyone.
Mm-hmm.
For D&D, you throw whatever freaking characters you want together. Everyone knows what to expect, what to visualize, what to kind of anywhere that you go. Everyone can kind of be on the same picture. Something with World of Darkness, the camera angles get wild. I don't know about you, but but it's suddenly like everything's noir and everyone's got a gun, but I don't know exactly where they are standing or if there's light in my eye. Yeah. It's much harder to deal with. Jumping into something like 2D20, it has that rooted backdrop of the media focused setting.
That's very true.
You've got Dune. You would have Star Trek. You've got
Conan.
John Carter. You've got things that you can hand people representations of, and within 10 minutes, they know what to expect and play.
That is a really.
I mean, isn't it like
point.
the whole thing of like if you have characters that like players that actually play the game instead of being like, oh, I'm a fighter, but then I don't know how to play a fighter. But if you have a setting, then even if you don't know how to play the game, you know how to play the setting.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Someone who's read even just a bit of the Dune wiki can sit down and play a Bene Gesserit character.
That happened.
There's like a one line. Yeah,
that happened when I played your track marks game. I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit back, let the new players make all the decisions, and have the fun with exploring the consequences that happen with the setting.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna play the cop how they are, drug fueled and fucking dysfunctional as hell, and ready to be violent.
Absolutely, horrifically violent. That is what I find very that's also intentional with track marks. The way that you have that pitch at the beginning, which is just 2 sentences, is you hand someone this little pamphlet. On the front it says track marks, and then it says diesel punk fantasy noir, and that paints a picture. And then the pitch: you are Blackguard. Get the drugs by any means necessary. Use the drug if you have to survive, but it might kill you. Okay, and then on the back, you see a picture of one of the pieces of art that inspired the Blackguard.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know what you look like. You know what you're here to do. You know what kind of tropes you're going to expect. Begin. And you're put into this pressure cooker situation where it doesn't matter who you are, you have to go be a shitty cop in order to, survive.
Yeah.
And that is it's such a compelling situation, too, because all of a sudden you're like, damn. I am immediately before you even begin play, you were confronted with a lot of hard choices about your character. You're confronted with who am I going to be? Am I someone who wants to do this? How capable am I of doing these things? How will I try to get out of it? Do I know people who or how you know what I mean? It's just boom, boom. And I think that's similar to what you're talking about, where it's like, Here's all this art from the Jodorowsky Dune book.
Yeah.
Here, just look through this and you'll get it. You know,
art's always nice.
Or art's always nice. Or let's watch an episode of Star Trek. Here's an episode of Star Trek. Let's go watch the Dune movie.
I
now,
even thought that was going to be hard because
you saw it too?
I know. But I'm seeing it on Saturday.
Yo, good.
We can keep going. I'll just cut it.
I mean, what the thing that I forgot.
Okay, thanks.
We're nice. We're done. I guess that's the start of the next episode then.
But yeah,
actually, we should.